Hey there, guys, and welcome to a bit of a news flash for Subsistence. I was actually producing my third part to my survival guide series, where a number of my viewers actually requested that I cover the hunters and combat with the hunters and things like that. And I've been working on it for a good week or so, and then suddenly, out of the blue, a humongous update has just landed by the developer. And hey, let's just say I've got to start from scratch because it makes my current video redundant. So I have to start all over again. So those who are eagerly awaiting that, please accept my apologies. It is coming, but I've got to start again from the beginning. But over to the actual update. It's a huge one. Let's just say the hunters now can actually create fortresses. It's it's insane. If I actually click onto the tab, he's actually done a video. I'm not going to show it all because this is his own gameplay, so I don't want to be like spoiling it. But look at that! That's that's the AI hunters who have built that. That is insane. I mean, they created bases before, but nothing like that. That is just, and he goes on to in the video. He's actually having combat with the hunters inside the base. Uh, he's just, he's yeah. I mean, I'm going to leave a link to the video anyway, so you can check it out for yourself. Yeah, I mean, give him a thumbs up because I'll tell you, he did a good fight in there. Real good combat with the hunters within their base. It's brilliant. And I'm really stoked about this update. Now, bear in mind, this is one developer that's working on this game. It's been slow progressing, but it has been steadily updated, and this is huge. So, yeah, on to the actual details. So yeah, we got hunter fortresses, indoor combat, and a lot more. So before, the AI hunter would only roam around the actual map. They didn't actually go inside their base because they didn't have any ability to pathfind within their base. Now he's actually got it so they build their fortresses and they can actually find their way around the base, and they will defend it from within, and that is huge. It's going to be further developed, so then when they actually raid your base, they will actually be able to come into your base and attack you in your base. That's coming at a later time. So this is actually quite a big step forward, and really quite excited about it. So yeah, it says in the later game, hunters will now start constructing giant fortress bases. These monster bases are multiple stories high and heavily defended. They are also prime for looting if you can get inside. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, in the video that he shows, there's like four floors in the base, loads of containers, but there's like hunters on each level and all fully equipped to defend it. It looks insane. So it says hunters now have an entirely new AI system, allowing them to operate and function indoors. This has been a goal since the hunters were first introduced, and by far the most challenging technical aspect of this update. And I can imagine that. I mean, you got to think the hunters have to have some sort of dynamic AI to be able to navigate around a construction that's not pre-planned. You bear in mind, hunters, when they build their bases, they're not always going to be the same. They don't have them in the same positions. They might have slightly different layouts. It's all essentially, it's not fully scripted the way the bases are built. So the fact that he's developed a pathfinding system to allow them to navigate around in their huge fortresses is really good. Is a real game changer. Yeah, so I mean, it goes on to explain typically games use pre-baked navigation meshes to implement pathfinding for AI controlled NPCs. So basically, that would be like a designed path that the AI would follow to navigate around the area. Obviously, what he's done here is different. It says usually requires a predetermined fixed path map layer and be generated in advance due to costly performance. So essentially, what it's saying there, if if a number of games didn't actually have planned out paths for the AI, it could cause the game to suffer in performance wise while it does constant calculations as to where the NPC should go. He goes on to further say, due to the free-form modular building system in the game, where buildings can constantly change in shape and grow or shrink over time, which is what these hunters actually do, using a traditional nav mesh approach seemed problematic, and possibly why he's never seen indoor AI pathing within dynamic modular structures. So again, that's going back to AI building bases and yeah, he's not seeing AI being able to navigate around them. He said he's built a custom indoor pathing system designed to allow the hunters to calculate paths at runtime through dynamically built modular structures. So he's created a pathing system that the AI can use to get around these bases and move into all the nooks and crannies and things like that. It's done a bit. He says he's done some benchmarking and the system has very low performance impact. It's still in prototype phase, so please report any issues. So of course it's early days. There could still be problems, but still it's a huge leap in the right direction. Implications of this new system and a key motivation for reports is to open the possibility of hunters entering the player bases during attacks, which would offer some interesting depth and tactical gameplay when defending your base. This will be something to explore in a future update, however. So yes, he is going to plan on implementing it so the AI can actually get into your base and attack from within. But that will come at a later time. That is going to be a huge game changer, and that means that you really will have to fortify your base, because they're no longer at that time. They won't be just lingering around outside your base, just blowing up walls and things like that. They could come inside and actually come in to kill you. Yeah. Other new AI behavior for the hunters, they will actually go fishing. So it says here that hunters will now venture away from their camps to fish the lakes on the map. This is actually not just a visual facade. They go through the exact same process that players must, from casting, waiting for bites, striking and reeling it. So that, again, that's going to bring a bit more of a human element to the hunters, where they're actually going to have to be like, they're going to be off guard as they're fishing in the lake waiting to bite on the fish. That means that you could potentially attack them from behind. How quick their response to that will be, well, we'll find out. So yeah, hunters will also now actually cook food. So it'll say, you will notice hunters sitting by their campfire to rest and cook food. So current behavior prior to this update, before this update, should I say, the hunters would just like walk around, maybe chop trees, but otherwise they were just like walking around constantly alert, doing nothing else but walking around, constantly watching out for the environment. The fact that they are now going to be like sat at a campfire to cook will be good. That again gives them a bit more of a human feeling to the game. But on that note as well, it says that if you kill the hunter, you can steal his dinner for yourself. So anything that they're cooking, you can steal. The same if they're fishing. If you kill them while they're fishing, any fish that they've caught, you will actually be able to recover that from them and take that for yourself. It's quite amazing. I think that's really good. Because I really thought the uniqueness of actual hunters in the game, that's what drew me to this game. Single player, with the ability to have combat with AI that are not just randomly dotted around the map. They're actually having a purpose. They're out there building bases. They're now actually going to be fishing, and they're going to be cooking, things like that. Really good. So hunter-based operations, hunters now have a new system to using the various utilities in their base. Prior to this update, loot would just be spawned in various base items. So it says the wood burner gets topped up with fuel and lit, fat is added. yeah, basically the kind of stuff that the player actually does. That's a lot. He's really put a lot of time and effort into this. You can tell AI target switching. So previously, AI animals and hunters would only switch targets if they took damage from another player while in combat. This led to some odd moments of AI not responding to players right in front of them. There is not new logic to handle switching targets based on the current scenario. I think this will make a big difference to combat in co-op. So that's something that obviously is going to be a work in progress. So yeah, there's going to be all new armory as well for your bases to solidify. The hunters will use it. So breaching charge to combat the armor plating of the new fortress bases. Players can now craft a breaching charge at the workbench to destroy doors during raids. Yeah, so that's another new object. So that's going to be a game changer as well. Currently, like the bases are all wood, essentially. But the fact that this is now in and is also counterbalancing it by adding explosives to it, I think is really good. So the Rogue Transceiver is a new loot item that can be found in the Hunter base loot chests. They are single-use items, and when used, will place a beacon on a rogue camp somewhere in the world. So I think that would help you like keep track of where they actually are in that world. So yeah, new hunter aiming and combat. So there's been a lot of fine tweaking on the hunter combat. Previously, the accuracy did not increase with different distance, leading to some frustrating long shots for the player. And I did notice that you could be at quite a distance and they'd still be just as accurate and still land their shots on you while you're trying to retreat or trying to get some cover or something. He's adjusted that so they're now they're less accurate, which diminishes further with distance. So as you get further away, they get even less accurate. However, their movements is more precise and focused. With this and the new target switching, I hope that this balance out into no difficulty increase, but you'll have to let me know your thoughts. So yeah, somebody's testing out. So just as you'd expect in early access. So hunter bases will spawn third out from player bases. So it says he hadn't updated this since several map expansions ago. So this should give players a bit more breathing room because before this update, they would actually build quite close to the base. And you'll probably see in the footage anyway that I'm playing at the end. I'll just give you a quick glimpse of what I was working on, but yeah, I'm going to have to scrap it. Defenses walls handling. So hunters would previously get stuck if encountering a wide perimeter wall around a player base. He's now added a handling for this so that they'll either try to move around or blow a hole in the wall with force. So no longer will they just go sticking to your wall and acting really dumb. They'll actually try to find a way in. So they'll run around trying to find a gap, or they will make one. They will blow it up. So again, game-changing stuff there. So hunters start moving around the world earlier. So regular hunters will now start moving around into the world 2 days after a BCU is placed. Previously, it was 3. Rogues also start moving in much earlier as they were previously mostly a later game addition. So the rogues, I think they are like the roaming hunters who don't specifically set up bases, but they will roam around the map setting up little campfires, and yeah, they can be a real pain in the ass to deal with, especially with the fact that they hang around in pretty decent sized groups. So yeah, hunters drop less food items and more munitions, which yeah, that's a good thing. I really don't think he's going to be including them actually dropping weapons though, which I can understand. It'd be easy picking if you get like just taking hunters out headshots and just getting easy guns and stockpiling them all. But yeah, I think really you could do with adding in the small chance of at least of a hunter dropping a weapon, or at least maybe introducing wear and tear to the weapons. So if you kill them, maybe you could get a gun from them, but it'd have to be repaired, something like that at your expense. Yeah, something like that, just to balance it out a little bit, because it is a little strange when you kill the hunters. They've got like all these different weapons, rifles, shotguns, pistols, crossbows, and all that, and yet they don't drop any of that. But we'll see, maybe in time. So solar panels, power production reduced during storms, which makes sense. You wouldn't expect solar panels to produce so much electricity when there's a storm, because the sun's under cover by the clouds. So time to unlock crates has been reduced, so it'll be quicker unlocking the crates. Again, he has actually said that these are temporary measure anyway, while he implements everything else into the game. Hopefully in time these will be eliminated, and there'll be other methods of gaining goods without just going around the world picking up these. But yeah, armor plated door, you got armor plated door in your foundation, stair railings, half wall curves, things like that, which I think is good, because he didn't have curved half walls before. Tool belt, clothing item order restored when picking up death crate. So yeah, anything that you had on your tool belt before you died, if you managed to get to your stuff, it'll all go back where it was, which is good. He's introducing tool degradation. Because before, things like your axe, your pickaxe and stuff like that, they could last indefinitely. Make them once, that was it. It makes sense that they have a degradation, so that's something that is put in there. Hunter drops kit HUD icons, so many players report difficulties finding Hunter drops kits after a battle due to dense foliage. They will now show a faint HUD beacon, which should remove this frustration. So again, that's just make it a little bit easier to spot their little bags that they drop. New berry plants, so finally, the berry plant has its own distinguishable model. Previously, it was confusing, similar to the fiber plants. So that makes sense. So base structure collision with ragdolls. Again, this is something else which is a bit of a game changer. If you were killed in your base, your body would just drop through the ground. End of, and it'd be a bit frustrating. Same if you killed the hunters on any kind of structure, they just drop through the ground along with any goods that they dropped. Be frustrating. But he's addressed that now. So it says previously, when a player, hunter or animal was killed while in a base, they will clip through the base structure and fall out, just as I just discussed. This was very immersion breaking and is now fixed. I think this makes indoor combat much more satisfying to see bodies slump into corners or fly over railings. So that is a very welcome addition to it as well. Reduction of max health, stamina on death reduced, so players will now lose less max health and stamina when they die. They now lose. The new loss is 2, 4, or 6 across easy, normal, hardcore, respectively. So that's good, because each time you die, the amount of health you have available or stamina is reduced. So he's sort of like trying to balance that out a bit. Says here, older save games will work fine, however the hunters will be resetting the world. Another reason why the video I was working on before is redundant, because I come back into the game, all the hunters that are in the world in that video are gone. They're no longer there. So I have to start again, because the hunters will be in different places. The bases are going to be different. The behavior different. So anything that I covered in the video that I was making is redundant. So yeah, I'm not annoyed, because this, I mean, it's huge. It's a huge update. And again, I've just got to reiterate, this is one guy working on this. And it's brilliant. And I think he deserves support. If you're into survival games with combat, this game's coming on really nice. There's still plenty more he could do with it, but what he is doing so far is really astonishing. Well, anyway, what I'm going to do, I'll leave a link in the description below to the video that I posted up, where you'll actually be able to see the hunters in action within their fortress and the combat. And yeah, I look forward to actually starting again. But yeah, starting again on my video to actually explore the hunter behavior and the building and things like that, and then base raiding. So, but yeah, I think this is actually great news. So, anyway, if you've enjoyed this little news update for the game, smash that like button. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. And yeah, why not ring that little bell to be notified of future content? And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next one. Bye.